Welcome back, tributes, to episode 87 of Into the Arena. I'm Holly,
I'm Emily.
and this is our last episode before Sunrise on the Reaping is in our hands. In T minus a few hours, we will be holding this majestic book in our hands, and I will be crying, you will be crying, I presume. But we're just going to be so excited. So, before we jump into our episode, which is our little bingo card theories, what we're looking forward to, what we're expecting, what we're hoping for episode, we thought we'd do some quick announcements, some fun announcements, because as the series is ramping up, so are we. We are excited to say that we are coming back for Mockingjay Mondays. It will be returning March 24th, and we're going to be reading chapters 1 and 2 of Sunrise on the Reaping. If you know us in the OG Into the Arena, this is our Instagram live that we do every Monday night. So come talk with us about the books. So join us on March 24th for our first Mockingjay Monday back for Sunrise on the Reaping. And then also, we're so excited for our next few episodes. We're going to be doing part 1, 2, and 3 of Sunrise on the Reaping, filming as we read. So Emily and I are going to read part by part, stopping to record our thoughts, our theories, what we expect. Those episodes are going to be our next few episodes. Really thrilled, looking forward to that. And we have a big night tonight, Emily. This episode airs the day before the book is out, and we're heading to a midnight party. Emily is flying out to
hmm
Denver, and we are going to be hosting a midnight release party, which I'm like shaking in my boots for. So, what are we most excited for tonight?
I'm just excited to go to a midnight release party because I've never been to one before. When
Yeah.
Ballad came out, it was during the pandemic in 2020, so there weren't any events really happening, and I'm just excited to be part of that atmosphere and energy and see people in costume, and we're hosting trivia, and I think it's just going to be a really cool event, a really cool night.
It's gonna be so much fun. Like, I also haven't been to a midnight release party, and the fact that this is a Sunrise on the Reaping release party, I've been going to like my local bookstores. I went to Barnes and Noble today, and they had all these signs. Like, all the merch is out, Hunger Games is at the front of the store. There's signs on the door saying, "Come to our party." And it's Hunger Games. I think I am in La La Land right now, just trying to figure out how we got so lucky that we get to live this as adults. And I'm so ready. I'm so thrilled. So, hopefully, if you're watching this before the event, we'll be at the Tattered Cover Colfax location. There's local parties all around. So, make sure you pre order your copy, contact your local store, and have some fun. I can't wait to see it. Share your content with us. We'd love to see what everyone's doing for the release parties. It's gonna be a blast. So, yeah, we have a big, big day, big, big night ahead of us. And I guess let's just talk about what we're expecting from Sunrise. I can't believe that we're talking about this.
I still can't believe we're getting a book. Like, it's
No.
not going to be until tonight reading it in my hands that I'm going to believe it, you know?
I don't know how I'm gonna feel. What? What are these feelings? What are these emotions? Like, what was your experience like getting Ballad? Did you like make a day out of it? What was your first thought getting the book? Was it a moment for you? Because this is gonna be completely different.
I don't even remember May 2020.
Hmm.
So I probably just had it delivered from Amazon or something, very uneventful.
Yeah.
Totally the
And
opposite.
it was like a solo journey, I feel like. Into the Arena wasn't even a thing at the time. You and I weren't a thing. And it's just so crazy that now I'm going to be experiencing this with close friends and experiencing it with fans. And even the other day, I was at work and having a conversation with someone, and they brought up, they were the ones who said, "Oh, I'm so excited for the new Hunger Games book." And I was like, "You just opened a Pandora's box." Like,
Yeah,
the
like
fact
you
that
can't
people
bring
are
up
talking,
Hunger Games around me.
no.
You don't even know what you're saying right now.
I'm like, I'm not going to be normal around you.
No.
And so it's just so exciting that the world is back in the Hunger Games world, and like you and I are experiencing it with fans, with friends, and I'm just so excited. Honestly, I think what I'm most looking forward to is just the interactions that we're going to get to have with other fans and friends, because it's going to be a
hmm
completely different experience than it was solo reading Ballad in 2020.
Feels very full circle in a way. When I read Ballad and I was reading it on my own, I would go to Twitter and post, where's the fandom? I mean, it was around, but there just wasn't really that much happening. Now, another book coming out and our podcast being a bit of a response to the fact that there wasn't a lot happening feels very right. I don't know, it just feels great.
Let's talk about what's on our bingo cards. Like, let's go through some predictions, thoughts. We'll just dive right in. Are there any characters that we're hoping are going to make an appearance?
I feel like we all know. I still have belief. I have faith that Plutarch is going to be in this book. And if he's not, I'm writing someone a letter. Suzanne, I'm going to write her a letter about the missed opportunity here. But I have faith that we are going to see Plutarch in some capacity. He's the propaganda man. Just give me a glimpse of how he got involved in the revolution,
Do
please.
you have theories? Is he a game maker? Is he an intern? Is he like, who is he at this point?
I'm hoping that he has a substantial role in the book, to be honest. I hope that he is similar to how we see Snow ending his book. He's at university or, around that age and is a game maker intern or something like that. I want him to be involved in the creation of the games.
I think that's the role he's going to play. I think he's almost going to be kind of like the character Tigress, how she was pulled into the world of Ballad. I feel like she's going to be that side character from the original trilogy that is pulled back into this world and that is connected in a way that we never understood. I feel like that's going to be a parallel.
I hope we have at least a scene between Haymitch and Plutarch.
My prediction for that scene, I reread Catching Fire, like the parts where that Haymitch's games take place, and there's mention of Haymitch just being bent on making it to the edge of the arena. And I would love nothing more than for this conversation to be between Plutarch and Haymitch. Hey man, there's a way to use this arena, and there's got to be an end to it. He's got to give him some peace, some inkling, maybe like he did Katniss at the beginning of Catching Fire.
Yeah, I would love that parallel that he's giving some sort of advice about the arena to Haymitch the same way he did for Katniss. That would be awesome.
I think I'm most excited to see Mr. and Mrs. Millark, Mr. and Mrs. Everdeen. I'm excited to see that generation of people just because I'm so intrigued by what was going on at that time. Because obviously it takes place in District 12 at some point, but I'm really hoping to see. I think that's who I'm most excited to see. I think my far-fetched like wish for a character would be Greasy Say.
It's on my list too. That's on my bingo card. So
Over the years, we all know this, her character has stuck with me. There's something about the fact that she is the final character with Katniss who takes care of her at the end of Mockingjay. There's something about
yeah,
that.
she's huge.
I think we're gonna learn a lot of lore behind Greasy Say, and I'm so ready for this. If not, that's the letter I'm gonna be writing right there, is that missed opportunity.
Even if it's just her at the Hob, as her younger self starting out making the stew.
Yes. And we all know my theory. We all know the Lucy Gray Greasy Say rhyming theory. Come on, guys. I'm on to something.
So if we don't see her, that means she's Greasy Say and she just hasn't come back to District 12 yet,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Check. Done.
Anything is going to be further fuel for the theory.
Who else is on your list?
I guess you mentioned Tigress. Do we think we're
Mhm.
going to see her?
Even in some minor capacity, because I think it would be so interesting to see the state of her relationship with Snow at the time that this is taking place. What was going on during the 50th games? What were they trying to do by doubling the tributes? I think that they're really, really covering up a lot of the political agenda and the political moves that Snow is making at the time by doubling the tributes. And so I really believe that we're going to see Tigress and we're going to see Tigress sensing that change in Snow and being like, hello, this is a warning sign to Haymitch. I feel like she could definitely bridge that gap between Ballad and Sunrise because we not only have to bridge Sunrise to the original series, we have to bridge it to Ballad. And it's going to be that perfect connection I'm waiting for. So I'm really, really thinking that we're going to see Tigress. We're going to see a lot of the political moves that are happening with Snow and that change in that relationship. So that's what I'm really, really hoping for.
Yeah, I think whatever happens in these games is going to have a huge impact on Tigress. What district do you think she's going to be the stylist for?
You know what'd be so interesting would be District 1, because that's the final girl Haymitch is with. And I've been circulating Reddit, I've been reading about the District 1 girl, and there's a lot of theories about circulating about her role and Haymitch's role and their connection to each other. Perhaps there was something more that we didn't see happen in the edits of the 50th games. But I don't know. I think it would be interesting to see a volunteering district that focus on a District 1 girl. That's my prediction.
I like that, tying that to the end of the games, which we feel like is going to be different probably than what we saw in the book in Catching
Mhm.
Fire.
You know who I think is going to play a major role is going to be Chaff. Chaff and Cedar, I think, are going to come back. Cedar is described as being a little bit older than Katniss's mom, so it could be assumed that Cedar won maybe a few years before Haymitch. Same with Chaff. And I just definitely see Chaff almost being like this older brother figure to Haymitch in a smaller sense. Like he's not going to be a major character, but I think he's going to have a significant role and impact on how Haymitch moves and maneuvers after the games.
Give us chaff. Put it on the bingo card.
Da-da.
All these things, I'm gonna have like a mental list in my head, and when we're reading, because we'll be like together when we're reading, I'm just gonna like scream when when I see each of these things pop up, because they are going to. One little glimpse of Effie. Like, wouldn't that be cool?
That would be so cool.
Just like not even a mention, but like maybe a character that we could assume, oh, maybe that's a young Effie. Doesn't even have to be named.
It could be like a mention when Plutarch was thrown into the punch bowl, something like that.
Yeah,
Something random.
exactly. I would love a moment like that where we can just assume that it's Effie, but she's not
Yeah.
important to the story.
There's one little name that I think might make it. We might see a glimpse of Seneca Crane. I would just imagine seeing him mentioned as an up and coming game maker because he royally screws up in the 74th games. So I would like to see how he does earlier on. Because we saw the Crane family in Ballad. Maybe we'll see someone within the Crane family again.
It'll be interesting to see any of the family names who were
Hmm.
classmates with Snow. I think that's about all I have for people.
Me too.
I mean, I'm sure we'll have more than we even expected, but I think those are the ones that I would be really excited to see.
Watching this episode back down the line, we're either going to be like, we are so smart, we manifested all of this, or it's going to be like the whole leading up to the announcement of what Sunrise on the Reaping was, and we just apply the clown makeup again. It's fine.
Yeah. Or we had no idea what we were saying. Yeah, as usual.
Okay, are there any phrases that we think might be said?
I have two. There's probably more connections to be made, but I'm hoping Stay Alive is
Hmm.
in there. I hope we get how Haymitch came up with that phrase. Maybe Plutarch gives it to him. I don't
That's what I
know.
think. That's what I wrote. Yes. I'm like, Plutarch.
I just want Plutarch to be the center of everything, to be honest.
I mean, I totally get that. I definitely think Stay Alive either comes from Plutarch or I could see it coming from someone like Maisley and him almost
Hmm.
recycling that as a way to give back to her and tribute her in a sense.
It could come from his girlfriend too.
And maybe that's the last thing she ever says to him.
Oh, don't do that to me. This book is gonna devastate me. We have a romance that we know is doomed in this book.
It's different from Ballad. Was it a romance between Lucy Gray and Snow? That's the game that we played. This is pure young love, and I am going to be destroyed.
And it's a character we care about.
Hmm.
Haymitch. I mean,
Yeah.
all these years, like wondering about Haymitch's backstory and finally getting the tragedy of it. It's
Yeah.
gonna hurt me.
It's gonna be a kick in the teeth, really. Oh, I don't
And
want
we'll
to
say thank you,
know.
Suzanne.
Okay, what's your other quote?
The other one, I guess the more obvious, really hope it's in there, but may the odds be ever in your favor, which they put it in the movie for a ballad, kind of the start of that phrase. So hopefully we see it become more of a common phrase by the
Mhm.
50th games.
Another quote that I feel like is going to make it. Remember who the real enemy is?
Okay, I could see that.
I could see that coming from someone like Maisley. And I say that because the summary of Sunrise talks about all the three other tributes that he's reaped with. And it's the most stuck up girl in town, we can assume, is Maisie. And we know that Hamish is from the seam. We know that she's from the merchant class. So maybe this starts as a conversation between class as opposed to district versus capital. Maybe it's class versus
Hmm.
class.
I love that actually. I love the idea that something that she comes up with or something about her like lives on in Haymitch.
And something I was reading, the idea between the parallels, like Suzanne loves a parallel. And the first person to ever bring up rebellion, that you can rebel against the capital, like actually physically do it, is Peeta to Katniss, her fellow
Hmm.
tribute. I could definitely see Maisie turning to Haymitch, him assuming that she's the most stuck up girl in town, and then having a conversation with her. And no, this isn't a problem between class and class. This is a problem between us and them. Are there any food items that we think might appear?
I only have one really. If we're putting food on the bingo card, the one food item I know for sure is in every single book is soup. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna be waiting for the word soup to appear when I'm reading. If it's this isn't really soup, but bonus points if it's lamb stew. I think
Mhm.
that would be fun.
I definitely put lamb stew will be mentioned. It has to be.
It
Like
has
it
to
has to
be.
be. And then Scholastic has been doing those releases of clues. The candy, maybe the candy store in the merchant class is going to play a big
For
role.
Maisie, right?
Yeah, we're going to find so much out about the lore in District 12 for this generation, and that's what my heart wants. And then I don't know why I put this down, but I think some sort of seeds are going to be used. Maybe in the arena as a form of nutrition, because seeds are like planting that growth, planting that seed for the rebellion. That's just me saying I think there's going to
I
be a
like
mention of
that.
seeds.
Good metaphor.
Okay, this is the fun one. Are there any ballads that we think might appear? How musical do we think this book is going to be?
I feel like a lot of it is going to depend on if Lenore Dove is Covey and if there's that Covey influence, because then I think we could be around other Covey members and ballads could come up. I definitely think we'll see somebody sing in the book. I don't know
Yeah.
what it's going to be, but somebody singing at some point in time. I'd like it to be the hanging tree. I just think it'd be fun to have that in another book again. And that's something so important that persists throughout the series, but it could be something else.
I also think it would be interesting to have the Valley song in there too, just
Hmm.
because I think we're going to get some lore on Mr. Everdeen, of course. So I think that would be interesting to see his connection with that song and Katniss's connection to Peeta in that song. But there is a famous ballad by, I think it's an Irish author.
Oh, you're
Um,
adding a new ballad to the
I'm adding a new
list.
ballad. I did my
Okay.
research on this. It's called The Rising of the Moon. Let me look when it was released. 1633. Like, I could see something like this being mentioned. Because the ballad, it tells the story of Irish rebels preparing for an uprising using the moon as a symbol for their impending fight for freedom, which I think the dichotomy of the moon and the sun would be really interesting. It talks about rebellion and resistance, the moon as that particular symbol of rebellion, and then the idea of unity and sacrifice. If Sunrise on the Reaping follows like a similar narrative to this ballad, it could mean that this book isn't just about Haymitch surviving, it's about him awakening to these capital lies, playing into that propaganda. If you want to read it, like, check it out. I just like read parts of it. But it's just about like the idea of this rebellion being set and these people getting to rise together, classes getting together to rise. And she uses a lot of European writers, and I think it's the perfect time John Keegan Casey could be mentioned.
Lucy Gray as Greasy Say writing this at the back of the hob while she's making her stew.
Exactly. You know me. Any places we think we'll visit. District 11, of course.
District 11. Yeah, I want to know what's up with Haymitch knowing District 11 so well, knowing the Justice Building. It's just been an itch that I can't scratch ever since we read Catching Fire and Katniss, Peeta, and Haymitch going upstairs in District 11. There's
Mhm.
something there. I want to know what it is.
I think another place that we're going to visit, specifically, I think Haymitch is going to have a very difficult time visiting, will be on his victory tour in District 1. I think I think District 1, we keep
Mm.
coming back to District 1 because of the District 1 tribute. That's the final girl that he kills. But I also think it would be interesting because we could see how volunteering works. And I don't know if that's something she wants to show us, but if she were to show us, I think it would take place in District 1.
I know this is a little off topic, but what do we think part one, part two, part three is going to be? I think we're going to have aftermath, but I'm confused how we're going to fit so much into part one and part two. I mean, I know Suzanne can do it, but is part one the lead up to the games? Part two is the games, and part three is the aftermath, kind of like ballad? That seems the most logical.
Again, I don't think we'll be in the arena as long as we were with Katniss in the first Hunger Games. So I definitely think it's going to be more of a ballad type. But then again, the whole point of this story is that we don't know what actually happened in the 50th games.
Hmm.
Everything's edited, and this is all about propaganda. So who knows?
There's also twice as many tributes. There's got to be more description to the events in the games. I'm going with the ballad kind of setup, I think.
I'll play devil's advocate and I'll say it's going to be a parallel to Hunger Games.
Like as I think about it, I don't know. It's like got pieces, I feel like, of all the books in a way,
Mhm.
except maybe Mockingjay, because that's like the culmination of the rebellion. It'll be interesting to see which of those three books this book is most like.
It could be that part three is years and years and years worth of time. It could be
Mm.
him mentoring one person and mentoring another, or it could be him mentoring the 73rd tributes. Like, we don't know what this timeline's going to look like, and we don't know what she's hoping to cover. Because personally, I feel like there is going to be a third and final book to this end of the trilogy. That's just me saying this, but I think that it's going to be a short period of time. I don't think it's going to transcend that long, long period of time. So I definitely could see it being more like a Hunger Games first book type and Catching Fire type book. Brainstorming what different parts are going to be called. I feel like the word songbird could come up because songbird is important, and you've talked about the importance of songbird and Catching Fire. And you know what else is something interesting that we kind of mentioned? Scholastic is putting out these symbols. A lot of people are saying that the sunrise on the reaping symbol, that little,
The Ouroboros.
yes, the Ouroboros, that word, is going to be the original Mockingjay, but was wiped out. It was like the original symbol of resistance.
That symbol on the cover, there's been hints that it's actually going to be something physical in the book. And it does seem like with that post that Scholastic made with the paintbrush, and it looked like a piece of parchment or something with the symbol on it pinned up. So it'll be interesting to see where that symbol comes from and like what it means.
Especially because the idea of President Snow being a snake is from this idea of snake-like eyes that Katniss mentions in the book. But it's also because of the venom and everything that we learn from Finnick and all his secrets. Is there going to be a lot of enforcing his new regime and backlash coming from him, and people see him as a snake symbol? I'm really, really excited. I think that's one of the most interesting clues that we've been given so far.
Yeah, who is the songbird and who's the snake?
It haunts me. What are scenes we hope to see?
Well, we talked about it a little. I want to see a scene between Plutarch and Haymitch, at least one.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm looking forward to Haymitch's goodbyes after he is reaped, saying goodbye to his family and his girlfriend. That's gonna be sad.
I
Hard to
put that on
read,
my list too. Clearly, we're
but
looking for heartbreak.
yeah, honestly, I am. Break my heart, Suzanne. Please do it again.
I put him and Sid specifically saying goodbye. I'll be intrigued to see who his other goodbyes are from. Part of me is like wondering if it's going to be Mr. Everdeen.
Oh, okay.
And here's why I say that. I think Hamish and Mr. Everdeen are going to have some sort of friendship. And I think because it's Hamish mentions going into the woods,
Mm,
not even having a close relationship, but just knowing that they see each other in the woods or maybe they help each other out.
like how Katniss and Gale's friendship started kind of in the woods. I really want to see the last interaction between Maisley and Haymitch because I feel like it was kind of odd from the tape. I don't know. I feel like there's something more there. In Catching Fire, we learned that I think she just kind of like walked away. and
Hmm.
Haymitch paid her no heed. He was just kind of standing there like, okay, like bye.
That's a good point. I really could see that happening too. I'm kind of mostly excited for Haymitch's just like interview. I'm excited for the pregame stuff because we see in like briefly what happens, but again, I'm gonna be intrigued. Like you said, his relationship with Maisley, his relationship with his two other tributes that are from District 12. I'm mostly excited to see how he prepares to put on this front of being better
Mm.
than everyone else.
Yeah, we get that one line from his interview, but to see it fully and to see it with Cesar Flickerman too.
Haymitch's first reaping as a mentor. I think that would be fun to see and
Oh my gosh.
only stab me in the heart a billion times.
That's my epilogue prediction. I think we're going to see like Sunrise on the Reaping. That's the beginning of the book, and then the epilogue is his first Sunrise on the Reaping as a mentor.
Happy birthday, Haymitch.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Oof, I feel like that line might be in the epilogue.
Oh, that would hurt. I think that's probably the hardest hitting line I've read, potentially in the Hunger Games entire series. That slapped me across the face when I read it.
Holly, what if it starts with Happy Birthday, Haymitch, like his family is saying it to him, and then it ends at the end of the epilogue with Happy Birthday, Haymitch, in a more like sad, sarcastic way in Haymitch's mind to
Shut up.
himself.
No, no, you're not okay.
I'm sorry. I just hurt myself with that, okay? So I had to share.
Chills when you said that. Just like, no, Emily. Oh, I'm intrigued about the animals and plants that are going to be mentioned, specifically our ladybug. What is going on here? There's no mention of ladybugs
Mm-mm.
whatsoever in the games.
I don't know. I mean, first, do we think that they're going to be a mutt? I guess we've seen that normal animals can get into the arena, like with Katniss, the Mockingjays were in there. So maybe we'll see ladybugs and they actually aren't something dangerous. Or maybe they're a mutt and they do something awful,
No, I could definitely see it being like that idea. That's a good idea.
something hopeful. It's got to be some hope in this book, right?
Yeah, and then it's gonna get squashed like a bug. Okay.
Mm,
Yeah.
lovely metaphor.
And then of course we're gonna see a canary.
Maisley's pet, right?
Hmm. I mean, we always focus on mockingjays, but I think we're really going to focus on a canary. And especially, I think we're going to focus on the canary because canaries and mining incidents.
Warn
And
of impending danger. Yeah, love that. I think we might see a goat because there is that theory Tam Amber, right, becomes the goat man.
hmm.
So I feel like we might just get a reference to him furthering the theory that he is the goat man. I don't know.
Yes.
He's still alive, right? So,
Hmm. We'll see Lady's predecessor. It'll be
mhm.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lady's great family.
The previous generation.
No, but I love that because I think Suzanne is so smart and strategic, and she said that she knows the entire backstory of everyone. She knows this and this and this and this. And I think if they included the goat, that would indicate something like that, that it would be him. And
Hmm.
it would then again bridge that gap. But I also think it makes it make sense. Like, we don't have to make everyone in the covey a main character.
So if we go back to Lenore Dove, who is she related to if she's Covey? Like, is she the daughter of Clerk Carmine or Tam Amber? Or there's also Barbazur. Who is she related to? It can't be Maud Ivory. We think it can't be Maud Ivory because we think that she is related to Katniss. But of the other three, if she's Covey, she's got to be related to someone.
In Ballad, there is a part where one of the first times, if not the first time, Snow meets Maud Ivory, he gives her candy. What if Maud Ivory is actually related to Maisley
Mm,
and
okay.
owns the candy store? And that was just like a symbol. That's like another theory that's kind of circulating.
Okay. I could see that. Yeah, it would
That
turn everything upside down that we've
Mhm.
previously thought. which is
Yeah.
probably going to happen reading this book.
But Lenore Dove, I'm prepared to make her my entire personality because we love Cubby. I I am so excited that she's based on an Edgar Allan Poe piece of writing. Like, I think it's just chef's kiss. And she's gonna be dramatic and she's gonna be sad and I don't know. That's just all I have to say about her is I have no idea who she's going to be related to. And I think that's what scares me the most. I think something fun and like a cool piece to see would be Katniss's Reaping Day dress from her mother. What if her mother is wearing the same dress Katniss wore?
Oh,
That would be painful.
you're so right. That's so smart. That hurt me.
We're just like stabbing each
We're
other
just
back and
hurting
forth.
each other.
It's so sad. I also think this might be the year that uniforms and like the outfits, the arena outfits are going to be introduced. I don't know. Maybe it's Snow finally trying to like make the games serious. Like 50th games is happening. We're making a ton of changes. We're revamping, we're rebranding, and everyone's going to be in uniforms. I think that might be the first. And then I also think we'll see was it the scarves that are mentioned in Mockingjay that Effie says were all the rage back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
I think we could see that.
That's cool. I like that.
Okay, I have one crazy theory. One crazy theory to wrap it up.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, I'm gonna give it credit because it's from somebody. It's from Reddit. It's from Quick Influence 3582. And they said, this is actually really interesting. They said perhaps Mrs. Malark's brother is the compulsive odds maker. The only compulsive odds making character I can think of from the original trilogy is Peeta's mother, Mrs. Malark. She remarks, maybe District 12 will finally have a victor. She is a survivor, that one. Katniss had better odds than Peeta, and it showed on the ratings from the game makers, even though Peeta was not someone to overlook or underestimate either. And she was right in that Katniss actually had a fair, honest chance at winning. She had witnessed decades of Hunger Games, including the second quarter quell. Could this oddsmaker male tribute be related to her? Could losing a brother that everyone forgot because it was in the year her district finally got a victor be part of the reason she is so bitter, unkind, strict, harsh, cold, etc.? Was Mrs. Malark from a merchant family who engaged in betting in the Hunger Games to earn money to stay afloat? I think that would be like, we're unpacking Mrs. Malark there. We know
Yeah.
nothing about her character. Imagine losing your sibling on the same year that your district wins.
I mean, after reading Ballad and seeing Suzanne kind of humanize Snow in a way, but in a way that you don't forgive him or think
Hmm.
that his actions were okay, I could see something like that playing out for Mrs. Malark too. I think that'd be really interesting.
I love these far-fetched theories because some of these I like would have never put together. And I love people picking out different points of the books and pointing them out. And I just think that's so fascinating how we all just read something differently and pick out different parts. So
Hmm.
it's far-fetched, but maybe anything's possible.
Anything's possible, but we're done theorizing. I'm ready to read.
Let's go. Let's go read. Okay, so this episode is airing with Scholastic. We're so excited to be a part of the countdown that is Sunrise on the Reaping tonight. Do you have anything else? Any final thoughts? Any final theories? Any final anything?
Just echoing what we said at the beginning, I'm so excited to have a new book coming out and the chance to go to the midnight release and experience a release not during the pandemic time and just read it with the community that we've built, you know, everybody who follows us on social media or listens to the podcast, interacts with us. Like, I'm so excited to not only read the book, but then get to dissect it and break it down and discuss it with everyone. I'm just excited.
I think that's perfect. I think I also am so grateful to have this community, to have you, Emily. Everyone, go pick up your copy of Sunrise on the Reaping. We're going to be talking Sunrise for the next few months. Join us every Monday on Instagram Live. Join us for our next few episodes as we finally unpack and get to reflect on our theories. And I'm just going to go get my clown makeup ready real quick just in case we're wrong. So,
We're going to be wrong about so much, but
yeah, let's just go read this book. We'll see you next time,
ah!
everyone, with Sunrise in our hands.